Okay, so yesterday I spent all day cleaning on this thing with a high pressure washer, and doesn't look like much has changed, does it? Still looks pretty ugly. A lot of paint is missing, that's why it still looks dirty, but it is cleaner. It's a lot cleaner, honestly. So you can see that area, it was all caked with stuff, and it's clean now. Now this was clean, but you can see it's already leaked again because that seal is bad on that one. In here was very bad, and much better now. And this had really like 1 inch thick stuff that would not come. I tried putting engine degreaser and letting it sit and then trying to power it off, and it just wouldn't come. Ultimately just had to sit there with the power washer and just go until it broke loose. Now all of this was cleaned up, but I'm seeing a drip of hydraulic fluid. After I cleaned this last night, it wasn't dripping at all. It was still clean. This morning it's clean, or I'm sorry, it's dripping. But I think I might be getting lucky on that leak. This assembly here, this is some sort of reservoir. It's got 3 pipes. This pipe here is leaking, this bottom one. And so that may be how it's getting in there. See how it kind of goes in and under? So this pipe here, this hose, may be the problem that's causing all the leaks, and that means I don't have to rebuild the pedal valve assembly, which was a problem. I didn't want to have to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna take that hose off, take a look at it, but it's leaking. It's definitely wet. So engine was washed, cleaned up, and today I want to try to drain the radiator. I need to replace hoses, but I can't find any information on the radiator hoses for this monster. There's only 3 hoses that are connected to the radiator or associated engine cooling. So I've got this 90-degree piece here. One end is 2 inch, one is 2.5. I've got this piece here, it's just a straight shot. I think it's 2.5 all the way across. And then this one's a strange shape. Don't know. I think it's 2.5 as well, maybe 2. But I need to basically remove them, drain the radiator, and get it winterized. Because right now, basically, it's just got water in it. The guy that I bought it from just put water in it, topped it off. But the good news is I don't see any leaks from the radiator, so it is good. So when I put good antifreeze in there, that should be the end of that. I shouldn't have to worry about it for a long time. So yeah, right now I'm going to focus on that leak that's getting into where the pedals are, because I don't want to keep getting dirty every time I sit down. But yeah, didn't get every bit of grease, but I got a lot of it. And so I mean, you could put that pressure washer on that and just go, and it would not come off. And engine degreaser didn't do anything either. I squirted on there, would let it set 5-10 minutes like the instructions, and tried to power it off, and it would not. So that was just a waste of money. Basically just have to keep going till it decides to go. But yeah, looking cleaner, but now it's time to do repairs. Well, that's it for now. Okay, so I'm preparing the hose to be put on the backhoe. And this piece here that was cut, they cut it to just under a foot, but it needs to be closer to 11 inches. So I just trimmed off a little bit to try to get it closer. I may have to trim a little bit more, but I'm going to stop here until I can try to fit it onto the machine. Now, one of these is 2 inch. Doesn't have to be touched. It's going to slide onto the engine part. This is the engine half. The other half is going, well, actually they're both on the engine, but the 2 different parts on the engine are a 2 inch nipple and a 1.5 inch nipple. So in order to meet the 1.5 inch spec, I'm going to use my sacrificial pipe here, and I'm going to cut off about 2 inches. And then I'm going to shove it into the side here, and then when we clamp it down, that hose will fill up the gap and seal it. I'm only doing this because I couldn't get the exact pipe where it was reduced on its own without having to modify, rig something. You could get a 22 inch one for like $60, but it was twice as long as it needed to be, and you couldn't use it. There's just no room. You'll see when I mount this in that it has to be precisely 11 inches or it's just not going to work. But even at that, this piece here was over like $35 just for 1 foot of this stuff. Very expensive. And let's see. So yeah, so I'll be cutting this and making the 1.5 inch sections for all the pipes. This is the upper radiator hose. It will also need a 1.5 inch and a 2 inch end. So let me get that done. Alrighty, so I've got the 2 pieces cut. These are about 2 inches long. They will go inside each of the hoses that I'll be installing. So I'll slide it in like that, and then I'll clamp it down around there, and that piece will essentially convert this end into a 1.5 inch hose. Now there's a little bit of slop in there, but I think it's going to be fine. I think if I have a good quality clamp it, I should be able to clamp it tight. We'll find out. The other hose is the upper radiator hose, and it fits better in this one. This one's a tighter fit. So this one definitely will work. This one will have no problem sealing. This one I'm a little concerned about. I mean, that's quite a bit of space in there, but I will try to do it. And it's got plenty of area there. I made it long enough to where I will definitely be squeezing on that part, that inner hose now. All right, well, by the way, I was using a tubing or hose tubing or hose cutter, PVC pipe cutter also. That's what I use to cut these things. You could use a razor blade or something, I suppose, but this is specific for the job, and it worked very well. All right, well, that's it for now. I guess the next thing will be once I install it, I'll show what it looks like on the backhoe. All right, so after test fitting the lower radiator hose to 837 Gates part number that I'm using, I've decided I'm going to trim off about 1 inch from this side where it connects to the radiator, the 1.5 inch diameter hole size, to try to relieve some pressure or some strain that's on it. It fits and would probably be fine if you didn't trim it, but I'm going to try trimming it to see if it's a better fit. I'm working on the last one now, and that's the upper radiator hose. I just wanted to comment that the part number that I bought has a spring on the inside. The original did not have a spring. I'm going to leave it in there. It should be okay. This spring should compress if anything is blocking it. So I think it's a good thing to have the spring in there. So, but if you don't want it, you can remove it. So let me see if I can get that put on, and then that will be the end of installation. Just need to fill it up with antifreeze in. I thought I'd better show what I'm doing here. So I'm putting the 1.5 inch hose on first, and then I'll be sliding the bigger piece on top of that. Now this one's already the correct size here. This one's a 2, and this one was 1.5. And like I said, I'm using this to space up this, to put a spacer to fill the gap between the 1.5 size nipple and the 2 inch hole. So yeah, that's what I did over here as well. I had to put a spacer right here because this was 1.5. So same procedure here, although this one's a pain in the ass because this thing does not want to compress or bend very well. It's a really hard rubber material. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we're doing. Let me finish this up. To mention one last thing, I used lithium white grease to put these on. This Blaster lithium white grease. I did that for all the joints because it just makes it easier to get it on and off. And also it will prevent rusting. And also I took a wire brush before I did any of this. I took a wire brush and I cleaned up all the nipples on the engine because they're steel and they rusted. Now the radiator here, if it hasn't been replaced, is going to be copper. This is a copper one. So, you know, you can take a piece of emery cloth or something and clean that up if you want, but mine didn't really need it. All right, so I just wanted to mention that. All right, so this is the first time I've test fitted this, and you can see what's going on here. This is a little too tall. This is not lining up, so I need to cut off 1 inch at least. Otherwise, there will be a bow in this. So the other option is to put it the other direction, like this. Let's see if this is any better. So that one, yeah, so if I cut this one a little bit shorter, then I have to watch this. It might be the exact same, but I need to pick the one where this is over the most, so this more of a bite will get on that nipple. Right there would be okay. So if I go this route, I need to cut off an inch so that this doesn't kink. Probably the same with the other. I'll study it a couple more times and then make a cut. Okay, so all the hoses are installed now. And I'm going to be putting some water in it to make sure that no leaks happen and everything tightened up nicely. I don't think we're going to have any leaks. So I'm going to be using concentrate, just regular automotive Walmart brand SuperTech antifreeze, and distilled water. Very important, distilled water. Don't use tap water. You can use RO water too, but distilled water is the best. And it's like $1.50 a gallon. So I'll be putting 1.5 gallons of distilled water and the rest antifreeze. The whole system is supposed to hold 3.5 gallons, but there's going to be some water left in the engine that doesn't come out, so I'm kind of compensating for that. Now, before I did anything, while I had the hoses off, I took the water hose and I flushed out the radiator several times and got all the discoloration out. It flushed out real good, as well as the engine. Just put my hand over the respective low point port and just filled it with water until it started coming out the top part, and then I just removed my hand and flushed it out. Did that several times each. So the engine and the radiator are ready to go. Okay, I've got the water topped off, but I don't want to run the engine, so I'm not going to want to start it because I've got leaks everywhere and I don't want to pressurize and mess that up, make a bigger mess. But I do want to crank over with using the starter to turn the water pump to make that water draw in. You can see it's topping off, it's going down a little bit. So when I crank it, it should force some of the water into the engine block and let me finish topping it off. I've put in about, I would say I put in about 3 gallons. There still should be room for another half gallon. But then again, there may have already been a half gallon of water in the engine. So what I'm going to do next is just kind of crank it a few times, let it see if the water level in the radiator goes down to where I can add a little bit more. Okay, so I cranked over the engine just a few times and the water level only went down a little bit, so I think we're good. I'm just going to top it off and that'll be it. Okay, everything's back together and filled up and topped off. I did trim an inch off of this hose, and it did, in my opinion, it did make it fit better. There seemed to be less tension on it, or strain on it, if you will. So consider that, or you don't have to. You could just leave it. But then it kind of comes out further like this, and this looks better to me. Let's see. This hose here, I considered cutting an inch off, but then I realized that if I do that, then I won't be able to stretch it over that way. So even though it has a little bit of an uptick there, it's not bad. So I didn't cut this one. I left it as is. Also, there's a spring in there. I left the spring in. The original, like I said, did not have that. So maybe that's better. I don't know. The only other thing I want to say about the cooling system that I should have done, but I chose not to. Underneath this hose, okay, there's a nipple assembly that has 2 bolts. If you remove those bolts, there's a thermostat. The thermostat may or may not be in there. I wasn't paying attention. I don't think it was, though. So this is not going to warm up and is not going to be efficient, because a hotter engine's more efficient. So I probably should have installed one if it was missing, or if it wasn't missing, maybe replace it. But my experience is new thermostats are crap compared to the old ones. So if the old one's working, best just leave it in there. So anyway, that's it. I may return to this, and it's no big deal if I do. I'll just lose, maybe half a gallon of water, and to pull this hose off, and then just remove those 2 bolts, and you can get to the thermostat. But oh, and the thermostat is available online, but if you go to like AutoZone or someplace, they won't list it. It might be special order, though. You might be able to get it that way, but cheaper to get it online. All right, well, that's it as far as the cooling system and replacing the hoses and refilling it. Thanks for watching.